Let's fight! Welcome in the ring to each and every one of you. A very good evening. We're going to have Rickford Burke joining us this evening in the diaspora. We want to get his impression on the PPP first year and also some other activities he has happening at his end. So Rickford Burke is going to be with us. Guys, as you come on, we invite you guys to share the live stream. We know you've been waiting. We've been waiting for the airwaves to kind of go quiet. Good to have all of you. Hope we didn't get you guys too nervous. Pamela McKenzie and Claire Capel, Yvonne McPherson and Dawn Raymond. All the other folks there joining us, Keisha Millington and Narayan Sigobin, Erwin Dawn Cook, Melissa Monroe. Welcome, guys, and share the live stream. Rickford Burke, rather. Rickford Burke. I'm changing the guy's name. I'm changing my brother's name. Will be with us a little later on in the program, guys. But good night to all of you. Suk Chan, Sudhari, good night to you as well. And Claire, good to you, Claire. Alexis, good to see you. Joan, how are you doing, Joan? Ramasindo, good to see you, Joan. And Renee McKelsie Talbot and Diane Fordyce and is it Welton Winston is going, guys, the names are going by so fast. Apologies. Sion Fraser and Paulette Benji. A very good evening to all of you guys. We got so much information to share with you guys this evening. The orientation of our info display might be a little different this evening, but bear with us. We got to take what we can get and wait for what we want. Good to see each and every one of you. Good to see each and every one of you guys. Great to have you. Hundreds of you already joining us. Share the live stream. We want to see those emojis. We got to see those emojis. Guys, got to see those emojis. And big thank you on behalf of the team for all of the folks who were out there at the Square of the Revolution. Good to see, good to see so many of you guys. I was viewing you guys virtually, not being able to be out there physically today, but y'all know you ain't got a protest. I don't like a protest against these jagabats. So it's really good to see all of you as you come on, share the live stream. I see somebody done showing a sad face. Now, what's that about? What's the sad face about? Come. All right. We want no sad faces here. So again, good to see all of you guys. Good to see all of you guys, each and every one of you. Good to see you guys. I'm ready to get into the topics because I got quite a bit of information to get through this evening. Quite a bit of information. And so I am, we gotta go, guys. We can't get our orientation right. Something is up the scene, but we're not gonna let that stop us. Lots of information to share with you guys as you come on, share the live stream, and we are fired up and we are ready to go, guys. Fired up and ready to go. And a bit of international, a bit of international news. A happy birthday goes out to the one and only Barack Hussein Obama, who turned 60 today. Can you imagine it, guys? Doesn't the president of the United States, former president, looks excellent. For 60, he looks great. And again, we wish him God's guidance and all of his blessings on his 60th birthday. Good to see him looking so good out there, still making a huge contribution not only to the US of A, but to the world as we know it with the Obama Foundation. Again, happy birthday, Mr. President. Good to see you there. And also, you know what's happening internationally? Do you guys know what else is happening internationally? Look what else is happening internationally. Rihanna is officially a billionaire. Yep. And you guys know Rihanna has some parentage. It's when you get a little money, we start claiming you as family all of a sudden, you know. But Rihanna got some parentage linkages and so on to Guyana, but was raised predominantly in Barbados and calls there her home. But nonetheless, we celebrate with Rihanna. Rihanna, I think, you know, some distant cousins, you know. You see, you got a slight ambulance there. So it's congrats to Rihanna as well, who becomes the newest billionaire on the block. She is now the first billionaire female from the Caribbean. I don't know the male, but the first billionaire female from the Caribbean. She is the highest now. She's the wealthiest of the singers the female singers, and then only second to Oprah Winfrey in terms of persons who are involved in entertainment and are billionaires. So on a lot of fronts, Rihanna is doing extremely well, and lots of her money. Interesting love has not been made from singing, but from her Fenty brand, her clothes line, and all the other stuff. But nonetheless, I don't want that to distract us this evening from saying a big, big congratulations to Rihanna, the newest billionaire on the block, folks. The newest billionaire. And she makes her money selling phone cards. She did make her money selling phone cards, people. Right? Rihanna earned her money the old-fashioned way, hard work. She invested in business, and of course, she saved quite a lot. But congratulations to Rihanna. Guys, wherever you're joining us from, I want to see those emojis. What's all this vex face about now? Y'all vex because Rihanna got more money than y'all? Stop that. Stop that right now. Right? Good night to Jack Powers, Alan and Rupert August and Siobhan Fraser, Jacqueline Holder, Diane Fordyce, Sandra Facey. Good to see all of you folks. Cheryl Haywood, wherever you guys are joining us from. Ahir H. Bacchus. Good to see you, Ahir. Good to see you there, Lynette Zephyr and Brenda Braffett. All the other folks, John Ben and is it Loetta France, Cheryl Haywood and Dennis Booker. Good night to all of you, wherever you're joining us from, whichever part of the diaspora, whether you're in the diaspora, Twitter, the Bel Air of the social media platforms, or you're in the suburbs, you're on YouTube, or you're in the ghetto, you're in Facebook. Good to see all of you. Simone Phillips and Carolyn and Andrew Cuthbert, Cheryl Gillis and Deborah Sharona Lynch, Agatha. Good to see you there, Agatha Devant, Dorette Jackson, Felicia, and good to see all of you guys. Signs of the times. The signs of the times are upon us. The signs of the times, ladies and gentlemen. The signs of the time. It goes downhill from here. I can tell you that early. It goes downhill from here. Now, a fella today, oh my Lord, some people need Jesus. They need Jesus, and whoever else they got. Whoever else they got out there, they need them. This man would have burned a toddler on her back and vagina because she wouldn't stop crying. A 2-year-old. And apparently defecating. Oh, Father. The Lord is getting some the wrong people, children, Right? The I here longing for daughter. 3 sons longing for daughter. This man bullying the daughter on her back. And on a private part, sickos. We got some sick people in this country, Sick in body and sick in mind. Some sick people. Gwyneth Jones, not so. Edel Henry. Robin Narain, not so. Sick people. You got to be a sick person to burn a toddler with a lighter on her back. 2 years old because she wouldn't stop crying. Not so David Wood. Claudette Harry's response is the right one. What the? Claudette Harry response is the right one. Right? Or as I would say, let me get the graphic for you. I would say, here's story here. That's what I really want to say. Right? But my pastor got vexed with me. Here's story here. Let me take story. What kind of person is this? Signs of the times, people. Signs of the times. Look, we admit we had some troubles in this country. We've always had challenges, but it seems as though since these jagabats come in, August 2nd, since the jagabats come in, it's like a different quality of sickos we got. Right? I hope when they carry at Camp Street or East La Penitence or wherever they can park he, that them boys bunny on his balls. That's what I hope. They burn him on his balls, etc. Right? Because he's a sicko and that might wake him up. Sick person. Signs of the times, folks. This fella come home because he think Guyana looking up. That's the mistake he made. He thought things looking up. First mistake. You know them Jagabats then. I hope it's that the Jagabats brought him, because the story is told this fella from Kanji found murdered in his backyard. According to reports, he had just returned from the ATM in the company of someone else. And he was recently found murdered in his backyard. Folks, I tell you all, this country's serious. It's a serious, serious, serious country we are living in. Very, very serious. I told you all, if you stand one place in this country, signs of the times, they're gone with you. They're gone with you. And that's what happened with this gentleman here. Right? You got a lot of people be following you to rob you. That's number one. And then sometimes people who claim to be friends. And things are tight in this country. People are doing some weird things. Things are so tight. Right? Things are so tight in the country. People are doing all manner of strange things. And so we are going to continue to monitor this. Things tight. I want you to see this properly. And then the next story. Oh, my Father. Lord of mercy. Guyanese and Barbados in a big bus. Well, I want to give you some of this, in finer details. Bear with me, folks. In finer details, I want to give you some of that. So bear with me for a second. Bear with me for a second, folks. Pocketory. That's what's happening in this country. Take a look at them. Take a good look at them. Big drug bus. Embarrassing us. That's what's going down. So what they were peddling there is cannabis. Take a look at them. I'm going to give you guys this story. Take a look at them. That's what's happening. Well, so I can tell you. Take a look at the Jagabats. Take a good look at them. So, busted in Barbados. According to the story, let me get that for you. The credible story. Oh, Father, help us. Father, help we. We're going to embarrass ourselves all over the place. According to the story, ladies and gentlemen, according to the story, 2 people have been jointly charged for a number of drug offenses related to the discovery of cannabis valued over $2 million Barbadian dollars. $2 million Barbados dollars. The drugs were found in the execution of a search warrant by members of the drug squad on July 30th. And on Wednesday, August 4th, police jointly charged 60-year-old George Adolphus Bennett. He's an attorney at law, and he resides at 103 First Avenue, Warner's Gardens, Christchurch, there in Barbados. And then they charge this young man, who's Guyanese, 33-year-old Dara Rudradeo. Yep. $2 million worth. Over $2 million worth in cannabis. So he gone to Barbados, and this is what young Mr. Rudradeo. Yeah. That's his name. Let me make sure I get it right. Rudradeo. Yep. Dharma Rudradeo from Guyana. Right. Things tight. So people doing a lot of weird things. So once you miss, it's like something taking away. And I told you all, things are even more tight here at home. It's pocketory, people. It is pocketory. Things are even more tight at home. If you stand up one place too long, you can be sorry. Let me just show you some of the things that happened within the last week. Just within the last week. Oh, Father, you can't even try to catch your hand selling little hot dogs. It's robbing, they're trying to rob the hot dog man. You can't even try to catch your hand. Viewers, selling little hot dog. Ivan Henry, you can't. Raul Brando Ramatar, Brian Small, Mavis Henry, Colleen Isaacs, Marlon E. Thomas. You can't. And I hope you guys are sharing the live stream. You know the price of admission is pocketory. So there is this man, just to show y'all. There is this man. Selling his little hot dog. Mistake. Them boys come for him. Take a look.
He's fighting the bad guys.
Pocketory. That's what I'm telling you. As soon as you stand up one place, what is Robeson Ben doing about crime? Where is the crime plan? The promise ain't delivered yet. When the promise gonna deliver? With the crime plan, Robeson Ben. With the crime plan, install Vice President Jack Dio. With the crime plan, install Irfan Ali. With the crime plan. Look what else happened over the last week. You can't stand up one place. I keep telling you all that. They are going to go with you with the crime plan coming soon. Yep. That is what we are degenerating into on a daily basis. On a daily basis. That is what we get degenerating into. Things tight. And those guys got no excuse, even though things tight, for doing what they're doing, because a lot of people got it bad and they ain't resorting to crime. They are not resorting to crime. Things tight. Yep. I told you all, things are tight in this country, people. But the administration, like on COVID, crime is running away from us. Crime is running away from us. Now, quite recently, we got some information concerning to where Guyana stands. I think it is on the International Crime Index. Where Guyana stands on the International Crime Index. Take a listen, folks. Where we stand on the International Crime Index. I hope I have the report correct.
At number 10 is Jamaica. At number 9 is Brazil. Number 8 is El Salvador. Number 7 is Guyana. Number 6 is Trinidad and Tobago. 5 is Honduras. At number 4 is Afghanistan. At number 3 is South Africa. Number 2 is Papua New Guinea. And at number 1 with the highest crime rate in the world for 2021 is Venezuela.
Yeah. We always in the rankings. We always in the rankings. We number 7. This is not 2020 January or August. This is 2021 August. Number 7 in the world where criminal activity is concerned. Number 7. Let me hasten through some of the hot topics. Right, we got this information yesterday, but you know the trajectory of last evening's program, the direction of last evening's program, right? We heard that Dularie got a big hole. Dularie got a big hole. This thing was shocking to us. We wanted to see for ourselves this big hole that Dularie got, that everybody's talking about. A big hole. It's causing a lot of problems. The Dularie hole causing a lot of problems. That's what we are. Take a look at this. Now, this is an area in the interior called Dularie or Dularie. And he got a big hole. Right. And the biggest trucks can't make it there. You got to be really big to maneuver and navigate Dularie hole. It's a big hole. And Dularie big hole swallowing men and truck alike. Dularie big hole swallowing men and truck alike. So you see 2 men there fitting Dularie hole one time. 2 men in Dularie hole one time. Again, the namely area is Dularie. And 2 men in a truck. And Dularie could take more. So that is what we have there. Dularie, big hole. And Irfan had a comment. He said, oh, but we're watching Dularie hole. We're going to get some more information on that for you. And we told you last evening about churches as well. Folks have been complaining about the prices of churches going up. Churches said it's everywhere. It's the cost of living. That's what churches said. We will have our guest with us very, very shortly. That is what churches told us. And I want to read a piece of the statement that churches put out because it gives us another indication, folks, that things indeed tight in this country. Things indeed are tight in the country. Nobody's making this stuff up. And here's what churches said. Quite a bit of information, right? It says, due to the overall rise in food costs, including 3% increase in chicken in January, followed by a 6% increase in July, and increase in our prices at all branches was a difficult but inevitable decision that needed to be made. So it's not just you at home feeling the squeeze, businesses feeling the squeeze, things tight, people. Well, except Dularie hole. And we've been following some crosses, heading through swiftly. Right? We've been following some crosses. We told you about this Candace Nelson, the acting town clerk, quote unquote, installed at City Hall. She says she ain't taking no orders from the council. She orders from the PPP. Well, they had a protest for her yesterday and today. Protesting the installed town clerk at City Hall. And as we got more information on where this is going, we are going to give you. It's crosses, people. It is crosses. Crosses. You know, when you got a cross to deal with in your life, you got some more, but when it's a cross, you're gonna coming back from that. That is where we are. It's crosses. Some people is going good, and then the crosses catch them. Look what happened here recently. Look what transpired here recently. It's Crasses. You're going good in this country. And then it's Crasses. That's why I'm telling you all, it's Crasses. You're going on your own lane. Kitty cutter. Kitty cutter. And then it's the Crasses. I don't know what else you want me to tell you. It's the Crasses. Huh? It's the Crasses. Now look some more Crasses. This is Hope Bridge. The Hope Canal Bridge. The man going good. Good. Folks, that is not Iraq, it's not Beirut. It's not Lebanon, it's the Crasses. My vehicle just catch a fire. PPP power. My vehicle just catch a fire. Just like that. The vehicle just catch a fire. One Crasses to the next. The vehicle just catch a fire. And so again, as we said to you, we are following what is happening with this Crasses City Hall. More protests. And then the other cross, Frank Anthony. Of course, by now you guys know there are new COVID-19 rules. Oh Lord, they're shutting you out from everywhere. Every ministry. These are people that some may all vote for. That said, care. And our guest is going to talk to us a little bit about this. Right? Now they're saying Sputnik V delayed. Other vaccines are delayed. Other vaccines are delayed. And they are trying to delay your fundamental rights. They are trying to delay your fundamental human rights. And the guest that we have understand human rights issue. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about that as well. Here's what Frank Anthony said quite recently, the installed Minister of Health, about human rights. They don't care. Listen to him.
Well, I hear a lot of people talking about human rights too, right? But you imagine, if you get COVID and you die, how much human rights would you enjoy then? It's that serious.
Yep. Crasses. Is that he concerned? So if we suspend your human rights, it's for your own good. And he's saying that Sputnik V, the vaccine, the delayed vaccines will be resolved later this month. Sometime this month, coming soon. So what? What's a little human rights being, taken away every now and again? What's wrong with that? Huh? A little human rights every now and again being suspended for your own good. We know what is good for you. Right? Here's a guy who understands human rights issues very, very well. My friend and brother, Mr. Rickford Burke. Rickford, a very good evening, sir. I need some better audio from you. I don't know if it's my end, right?
Sorry, good evening. Good evening to your listeners. That was me. My microphone was on mute.
Thank you, Rickford. Rickford, I know they're trying to suspend your human rights, but you're not having it.
They will never be able to do that.
You're not having it. So you understand what we're in here. Now, these jagabats, Rickford, these jaggers, and I hope the folks are sharing our live stream. These jagabats, these nakavakamites, these hippocytes, trying to tell us that they had a fantastic first year. But for a couple of things, they had a blast. Right? But you and I know differently. What, in your estimation, happened over the last year? And do we have anything to smile about?
I'm still smiling about the PPP getting stuck in the Dularie hole. But I would say that we've had a disastrous 1 year under the PPP. If you were to look at the record where Guyanese is now, earlier today I posted a photograph of a slave in chains, and I reflected that the will of our indomitable foreparents led to the confrontation, the fight against slavery, us overcoming slavery and abolishing slavery. And that's the fight we need to engage in Guyana. What the PUP has successfully done is turn the clock, the hands of history back to slavery. The PPP wants to enslave people who don't support them. They want to make Black people second-class citizens and slaves in Guyana. They want to make sure that Black people in Guyana do not participate in the economic wealth of the country. They want to make sure that there's no social advancement for Afro-Guyanese in Guyana. And that's what they've successfully done. Entered the country into this phase where we are divided, where they're attempting to make half the population second-class citizens. And Sherrod, I see bloodshed. I don't see how else this is going to be resolved. They are determined to push Guyana to the brink of bloodshed. If you look what they do, so up to today, they took away the contract from Colonel George Gomes, who's a Black man with a security company, and they mean to kill that business. They're trying to kill the business of Lakeland Funeral Parlor.
Yep.
They mean that any Black citizen of Guyana, so long as they're in power, their business must not thrive. They mean that any Black person in a position of influence or a strategic position in the public service must not continue once they're in power. Mm-hmm. That's their philosophy. Their philosophy is Indian domination of the entire country. And in trying to impose that East Indian domination on the country, they're pushing the country towards civil war. And when people like myself and you expose their racism, they call us racist. By God, they say you and I are the two biggest racists in the country. Well, in 1964, we didn't go behind the back dams and kill out Black people. They did. In their government between 1992 and 2010, we didn't kill Black people. They did. They killed over 1,400 young Black men. And that's where they want to take the country again. But we, all Guyanese, must band together and not allow them to do it. We must not allow them to impose apartheid governance in Guyana. So let me go back to your original question. Sorry, I diverted a little bit. In terms of their governance, let's see where we are today. They claim to have won the election by 15,000 votes, but they're governing the country like if they won all the seats in parliament. They have been using the Guyana police force as their own personal vendetta squad. They have fired over 2,000 Black people from the public service. They are indulging in massive fraud and skullduggery in the oil and gas industry. Up to yesterday, they closed the bids. There's no, for the LIFT, the Guyana portion of the oil lift, there's no transparency. We don't even know if they're depositing the money into the bank account in New York. There's absolutely no transparency. They are refusing to allow the National Assembly to function. Mm-hmm. They're arbitrarily removed the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee so as to avoid scrutiny. They have budgeted over $280 million to reintroduce their debt squad into the communities. And they're trying to say, well, it's going to be done through the Guyana Defense Force, but we know what they'll do. They will make their murderers, their mercenaries, supernumerary constables, and then put them out to patrol. These mercenaries who will be joining this secret police, they're equivalent to those Colombians that killed the Haitian president. These are the same people who murdered over 1,400 young Black men that they're bringing back under the auspices of the security service so that they can monitor people throughout the society. It's a communist government, it's an apartheid government, and they're out to ensure there's ethnic supremacy and domination in Guyana, and we have to stop them.
Yep, and Rickford, I'm happy you said that. You said as part of your presentation there that we have to band together as Guyanese, not Black people, not Amerindians, not East Indians, but as Guyanese. Just today, I had a fellow call me from Region 6. This is an Indian fellow who is so repulsed by the repugnance of the PPP that he says that where they are and they are passing around these lists for farmers to get the $10 billion, right? When Black people approach them and say, oh, the list is closed, The man said it is so sickening to see what is happening. Farmers just like them who have suffered loss, just like every other farm in this country. When you come to put your name on the list, suddenly the list is closed. Lots of skullduggery. So what you were saying is factual and has root.
Yeah, and listen, I receive hundreds of mail every day and messages. And I'm getting messages from East Indians, Americans. I'm surprised. A lot of people from Region 9 communicate with me. Lots of people from Bartica region who are not black people. These people are pointing out atrocities of this government. Even a very prominent supporter of the PPP have been in contact with me, telling me he does not agree with what they're doing in terms of the COVID relief, in terms of the relief for the flooding. But what puzzles me is that we have African Guyanese members of this cabinet who sit down there like puppets, people like Onish Waldron, like the Prime Minister, like Joseph Hamilton, and the Klung, the so-called bishop. They sit there and they claim that black people are their constituents, but they have to comply with the same apartheid policies of the government. And Sharad, I have been saying to the diaspora that we in the diaspora cannot sit down and allow this to happen. What they're doing is building a South Africa. What they're doing is utilizing the wealth of the country to enrich their ethnic collective. And Mike, as far as CGID is concerned, if every Guyanese cannot develop and survive together, nobody must. Nobody must. If the PPP believes that they will take our country that slaves built Guyana, just like they built the United States of America, built these cities throughout the world, slaves built Guyana. And if they think that they're going to take the country that our foreparents built and make it into a mecca for ethnic superiority, they have something else coming. We would not allow it to happen. And so after the 15th of August, we are going to be declaring a state of emergency in the diaspora to deal with PPP racism and to halt the march of the PPP to an apartheid state in Guyana.
Yep, and Rickford, part of that apartheid state is that you had one section of the society controlling all of the wealth. And again, you know, I want to say what you were saying here is borne out in fact, because it seems to be that they had one set of promises during the campaign, and now in office, they are far removed from those promises. I mean, this is Starbuck News, one of their friends, shocked that the PPP is unwilling to insist on a renegotiation of the production sharing agreement with ExxonMobil. And this is what they came in saying, we will renegotiate that. APNU AFC didn't know what they were doing. To date, 1 year later, they have not touched that. The Starbuck News said that they have been lax in securing regulatory boundaries and have been indulgent with ExxonMobil, as though ExxonMobil is a partner with them, as against they being the regulator. The editorial went on to state quite recently that the government is yet to present a single piece of legislation on the oil and gas industry. Will hustle and carry one to Parliament yesterday. The editorial says, who would have believed after 12 months the government is yet to activate the Natural Resource Fund? Ashley, Jagdeo, and Irfan want to manage that by themselves. Shocked. They are also shocked that the Keystone Petroleum Commission has not been activated as yet.
Well, but you know what they're doing? They're busy introducing legislation to strip the judiciary of its rights. They're busy introducing legislation to strip the citizens of their rights. They're busy removing David Patterson from the Public Accounts Committee so he can't scrutinize the lawlessness and the thievery that's going on and the corruption. That's what they're doing. And you know what they're busy doing? They're in bed with Exxon. They're not regulating Exxon. They worship white people. Exxon is white people, and they're corrupt. So what they want to do is to make all sorts of behind-the-scenes deals in the oil and gas industry. Somebody's going to go to jail by the international community. There's so much corruption happening with that oil and gas sector, with Barbados sitting there behind his desk every day and indulging in what people are saying are irregularities. Now, we need to shine a very bright light on the bidding process in Guyana, right? They have abandoned the original process for the bidding of oil in Guyana. Every time Guyana's portion, the way the oil production sharing agreement is they have terms in terms of who gets the proceeds from the lift. So you have the oil companies getting their proceeds, then you have Guyana getting their proceeds. We just had a lift. I think we will be selling now this last lift, and they had the bids. I think they closed on Tuesday. They were supposed to close on Wednesday, but the bids had to, on Monday. But the bids, Monday was a holiday, so the bids had to be submitted by Friday. Now, how do we know that these bids were not open over the weekend? How do we know that these bids were not changed? There's no transparency. Plus, they have signed a contract, or one of their vendors have subletted a contract to the company that is involved in massive corruption in Brazil, that sent the president to Brazil in jail. That's who they're playing footsie with, and they're selling the oil directly to companies. We don't know how the payments are made. We don't know who is getting the money. We don't know how much money is going into Jagdale's pocket. We don't know how much money is going into Ali's pocket. We know that they're corrupt, and we know that they fought to go in government because they want to seize the resources of the people of Guyana.
Rickford, I hope folks are sharing this live stream because the information is so important. Andre and Ariel Squires, Paul and Cheryl Wilkins and Yasmin Henry and Jackie Beard and all the other folks, the hundreds, the thousands of folks watching. I hope you guys share the live stream. Rickford, and again, I find myself in agreement with you because it is the Resource Governance Index. I can't remember the prestigious international organization that does this index, but it's called the Resource Governance Index. Give the Ali administration, the Jagdeo puppet administration, a failing grade where transparency is concerned, and the oil governance, the oil and gas governance, a failing grade, Rickford, where transparency is concerned. Why they don't want us to know what is happening?
Well, the people of Guyana should demand to know. And if they don't know, they should march into the office of the president and shut it down. March into the Ministry of Natural Resources and shut it down. March into Barbados' office and shut the whole place down. Listen, we are making fun. What the PP is getting away with in Guyana, they cannot get away with in any other country of the world. They are taking Guyana's resources and manage it as if it's their own. Barbados is the problem. Barbados thinks that Guyana belongs to only PPP supporters. And what they have been doing is conducting an ethnocracy where they're using the resources of the state for the benefit of their own ethnic collective. That's why they can afford to give out billions of dollars to farmers, billions of dollars to so-called students, billions of dollars to residents in the country. And if you notice what they're doing, everything is about cash. The reason they're using cash is because it's easy to thief the money. Have you ever seen where people are going house to house in the country giving people money? No, you use the tax records, or you use the Social Security database or NIS database or the GRA database to send checks to people. They're using billions of dollars to take a gift to their supporters to go out and give to people in the country, allegedly. And we know what's going on. We've already heard that $6 billion is missing. Sorry, $600 million is missing from the money for the COVID relief fund. Where's that money? Who's accounting for that? Where's the Auditor General? Right? We know that he is a PPP partisan, but at least he's as a professional who has a professional responsibility and a constitutional responsibility. Is he doing his job? And to the extent that these people are getting away with a massive corruption there, we should stop it. We should stop it. And we as Guyanese, whether we're in the diaspora or we're in the homeland, we should stop the corruption and we should stop the march to an apartheid government.
Rickford, I respect Muslims. I respect my Muslim brother and sister. I respect the principles, of Islam. So beautiful tenets there. As a matter of fact, it's a Muslim sister of mine who opened my eyes to part of the concept that you don't convert to Islam, you revert, because they believe that we are all born Muslims, but some of us backslide. So you're backslidden. Right? So I said that to premise this. And while I love my brothers and sisters, I have no respect for Muin Ulhaq, who is the husband of the Director of Public Prosecution. Mind you, Rickford, this is the woman that dropped the fraud charges against Irfan Ali, dropped the fraud charges against Winfield, Anil Nandalal, dropped the fraud charges against Winston Brassington, dropped the fraud charges against Ashley Singh, his wife, gave a fantastic review of Irfan Ali governance and government. How come you so different? How come you so different, Rickford?
Well, you said her husband gave a good grade to the government for first year in office. Well, listen, they're all part of the PPP. The DPP, Shalimar Ali Haq, is a PPP person. And I think the dropping of those charges is an act of public corruption. There should be an investigation into what went into the consideration. How could you drop charges for rich, powerful East Indian men when East Indian young men and Amerindian young men and black young men and women throughout the country are going to jail for marijuana and possession of ecstasy pills? Like, why are you creating this disparity in the society? Why are you creating two justice systems? She's unfit to be the DPP. And if you look, she is in collusion with the People's Progressive Party for the prosecution of all of these people that they have been prosecuting. Roxanne Myers and Keith Lowenfield and Walden Lawrence. She is the person who is putting forward these charges and defending them in court and prosecuting them in the court. She's a part of the corrupt cabal of the PPP that's out to try to subvert the rights of African Guyanese. So I wouldn't listen to anything her husband has to say, because they're part of the PPP. So I don't expect them to be objective in their analysis of their own PPP government.
And what we're witnessing, and you know this so acutely, being a person involved in international relations and justice issues and the whole gamut, it seems to be, as you said, this apartheid nation, this creeping dictatorship, well, it's running out. The justice system seems to be geared towards one set of people as against equity and equality. All are equal before the law. Now, you have this gentleman here from the Ministry of Finance, Ashley Boy, the project's manager, who killed a pedestrian, a young teacher from Region 6 or Region 5. Right? Terachan Jaigobin, he has not been charged yet. You had the vice chairman of Region 3, again involved in a road accident, killed a pedestrian. He hasn't been charged. 3 months now, they're waiting on legal advice. We saw the house slave, Dalrymple bite a policeman. To God, Rickford, bite a policeman. She had a day in the lockups, much more in court. What is happening in this country? You saw we saw the one in the interior. Carl Singh shot a young lady in her abdomen, told her parents she stabbed herself initially, and then said it was an accident. He in charge yet? Investigation still going on. Filed before the DPP.
Well, what I'm going to say is going to be very harsh, but I'll say it. Every time the PPP is in power, they believe that their people are above the law and they must not face consequences for their actions or their criminal conduct. That's why the killers of Isaiah and Joel Henry have not been charged. I think that we are coming to a point in Guyana where the PPP always makes sure that there's no justice for people connected to them. And we're reaching a point where the people will have to institute justice. Because you can't get justice from the police force. You can't get justice from the criminal justice system. So the people will have to impose justice. You see what happened to Muammar Gaddafi? The international community came together and chased him out of office. And the people dealt with him. That's what we have to do. We have to mobilize. I'm not saying people should institute violence or use violence against people. I'm saying that for these people who think that they're in power and they're all powerful, we must band together with the international community to make sure that we run them out of power. Because you're not in power to abuse people and to abuse your authority and to run roughshod over people. You're in power to serve. But Barjagde and his crew don't believe that they're in power to serve. They believe that they're in power to dominate. They are in power to control. And if you didn't vote for them, they believe that you must be subject to their power, subject to their authority, and subject to their control. And that's why I'm saying the people of the country must make sure that there is justice. We cannot allow them to run a country where they are imposing an apartheid system of government. We have to get together with the international community and make sure that there's accountability, make sure that there's justice. And if that cannot happen, we must shut the country down and make it ungovernable and let the international community come in and solve the problem. That's my view.
And Rickford, that is why I love what you're doing there in the international community, among the international community there. I love what, for instance, Hank Johnson said recently about them and about all Guyanese being able to benefit from our national patrimony. I love what Albio Sires said. I love what the Secretary of State also said recently. And then you had none other than the President, Joe Biden, issued a very strong statement against Cuba. And if these guys read and if they understand, they would know that that has some implications to that very human rights concerns. And that's why Frank Anthony can't just say, you know, they can dictate when and how you exercise your God-given fundamental rights. And you have a very important activity that is coming up. I will have you know that you had none other than the Prime Minister, the installed Prime Minister, Mark Phillips, that other rubber stamp, on recently talking about their 1 year. He had 36 people, Rickford, watching him. You got almost 3,000 people watching you live. So I don't know how they win election, Rickford. I don't know how they win election when nobody's concerned with them. You almost got 3,000 people watching you live. I encourage folks to share the live stream. Rickford, tell us about this event you got, because it is causing them to, it's like a laxative. As I told the people at Buxton over the weekend, Buxton is like a laxative to the PPP. The event you have happening there, I think in Queens or Brooklyn, wherever it is in the US, it is like a laxative for them. It got them giddy. Tell us about what's happening and how those plans are coming along for 2 weeks.
Well, I understand that the president met with the president and his boss, Barbados, met with a delegation from Georgia of entrepreneurs, and he complained for me. He has time to wait. He complained for me, and he complained for the activity. Well, the activity that we have is it's a series of activities that will last from the 14th of August to the 17th of August. On the 14th of August, we have a very special event. We have an activity coming up with Guyanese members of parliament. And by the way, we have about 21 members of parliament coming up. I hope to see you as well. I see you're a member of parliament. I think you're coming. And with our elected officials here, several members of Congress, we have a conference with them. And then on the 15th, we have the massive march and rally starting from Church and Flatbush Avenue. I want to encourage every person listening here. If you live in the United States, make sure you come to Brooklyn on the 15th of August, Sunday the 15th of August. If you don't live in the United States, get in touch with all of your relatives and friends. Encourage them to come out to Church and Flatbush on the 15th of August at 12 o'clock, where we have a massive march from Church and Flatbush Avenue all the way to Grand Army Plaza, which is a historic monument, and we have a massive rally. The last rally we had there had 45,000 to 50,000 people, according to the New York City Police Department. We hope to top that this time. So we're calling on every Guyanese, if you're in the tri-state area, or if you have relatives, encourage them, you come out to the Grand March, anti-PPP March and Rally on August 15th, starting at 12 noon at the intersection of Church and Flatbush Avenue, and we're marching all the way on Flatbush to Grand Army Plaza for a rally. And that rally will be something else. We have civil rights leaders, members of Congress, senators, assembly members, city council members, members from the Caribbean American community, all joining with Guyanese to condemn PPP racism. And also, we have members of the Black Lives Matter who will be speaking as well. I understand that Jagdeep complained that I am usurping the authority of the BLM. Well, we have a crisis in Guyana. Black people are being treated as slaves, second-class citizens, and we're not going to have none of it. The rest of the Caribbean is inhabited by descendants of slaves who the PPP resent. And we will make sure, Sherrod, and to all of your listeners, if it's the last thing I do, I will make sure that we mobilize the entire black world against this racist apartheid PUP government. We will not allow them to take over our country and dominate it like if it's India. And to those people who want to call me racist, I don't really care. What I am doing is fighting racism. What I'm doing is fighting anti-black racism. And I will mobilize the entire world, if I can, against those racists like Barbados, Baywood, Adel Nandalal, and Orphanage.
Thank you very much for that bit, Rickford. You told us about the main event, but are there allied or auxiliary activities happening around that main rally there?
Yes, actually, I forgot to mention that. So, okay, so let me give you the calendar of activities. So, on the 14th, we have a luncheon with our elected officials. On the 15th, we have the rally. On the 16th, we have the diaspora conference, where all of the leaders in the diaspora who are interested in equity, justice, fairness, will come together with our MPs and discuss a strategy for achieving that for the country and discuss a strategy to ensure that Guyana doesn't become an apartheid state. And then on the 17th, which is Tuesday, the 17th, we have a town hall meeting where a group of the leaders from the diaspora and some of the members of parliament would report to the Guyanese community via town hall meeting about the discussions, deliberations, and decisions that we made at the conference, and how the discussions and the deliberations with the elected officials, especially our members of Congress, went. So on the 14th, we have an activity with our elected officials. On the 15th, we have the massive march and rally. On the 16th, we have a diaspora conference. And on the 17th, we have a town hall meeting.
So it's a power-packed weekend going into that new week there. And I know the response has already been tremendous. And I'm happy that you put out a call for those persons who can't make it to contact your relative wherever they are. It's that kind of activity. You want to say, I was there when it happened.
And let me tell you this, I am overwhelmed I'm thrilled rather with the overwhelming response we're getting. So far, we have 60 people coming from Guyana for this event. We have about 14 coming from London, a whole ton of people coming from Canada. I'm not sure if the borders are open or if they'll get to come, if they'll get their vaccines and whatnot. But then we have an overwhelming response from people all around the United States. We have two buses coming from Georgia, bus coming from North Carolina, people coming from Florida, people coming from as far as California and Arizona. So all across the United States, people are hearing the call to come to New York and let's start a fire to stop this apartheid regime from taking over Guyana, from dominating Guyana, from making Guyana into an apartheid racist ethnocracy.
But and Rickford, we love what you guys are doing here, and I'm happy to report to the folks in the diaspora like you that our own efforts here too has been building over time. We saw a lot of folks turn out there at the Square of the Revolution just this afternoon, and it's every Wednesday for 1 hour. That's how we started. 1 hour, 12 to 1, and people are having protest activities in their villages, like we had at Buxton over the weekend, like we had at Linden just this morning as well, and other places. So we are coming together in this way to resist this fraudulent installed administration. They don't like to hear that word, install.
Well, they're installed, and I noticed the president said that he would not fulfill his constitutional responsibilities until the opposition stops saying that he's an installed government and acknowledge that he's a legitimate government. Well, that could never happen. But let me also say this, that the reason I think the PP government is behaving the way it's behaving is because it's not being checked by the representatives of the international community there in Guyana. And I think we have to start examining the people that we excuse me, allowed to come to Guyana as representatives of foreign countries. For instance, Ambassador Sarah Lynch, she has been fully complicit with PP racism. She has not spoken out against the abuses of the Constitution. She has not spoken out against the abuses of the rule of law and the violation of the law. One will recall that during the recount and throughout the period since the no confidence motion, Ambassador Lynch and the so-called ABC ambassadors were all over the place, like if Guyana was their cotton plantation and they owned it, directing how the law should be upheld and how the government should conduct itself. And they were very vocal when the PPP complained that there were breaches and they were dissatisfied with certain decisions of the government. Now they're completely silent. Why? They themselves are racist. They come from racist societies. And the world over right now, Sharad, we're having a reckoning against racists. This current administration got into power because the minority community in this country, which will be the majority community in about 20 years or less than that, came out and fought Trump and his racist clan. And Sarah Lynch is part of that. She's part of the Trump clan. And that's why she is so hesitant to condemn PPP racism. And we are taking it strong to this administration. That's part of the rallying cry that we'll have on the 15th.
Yeah.
We want this ambassador removed from Guyana. We want to see ambassadors in Guyana and other parts of the region that represent the values of the American people and the values of the current administration, not those leftover Trump racists. And so we want Ambassador Lynch to get out of the country because she might be a perfectly fine woman, but she is complicit with PPP racism, and she's a source of controversy and division in the country. And so as long as she remains there, Guyana will be divided because she is complicit with the PPP racism and division.
Yeah,
that's part of our call.
I don't know about this perfectly fine woman, because I believe what they say. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And she has shown us who she is. I don't know, but this perfectly fine woman, because that says that, you know, she thinks very nicely at a certain time of day or month based on how the tide go or the moon or the sun rotate, right? I think she's who she is. And she's already shown us that, and there's no coming back. I was made to understand she might be leaving this very month. I hope so. I hope so. That is one comment I'm looking forward to.
I'm pretty sure that over the course of the weekend, that our members of Congress would, after discussing this matter with the administration, would address it at some point. So hopefully, when you come or when your delegation comes from Guyana, they can address this matter with the members of Congress, and it will be addressed.
Rickford, we have just passed a year of these the installation team, installation as I call them, the installed bunch. What are your thoughts to Guyanese and at home and abroad at this critical hour and juncture in our nation's history? What are your thoughts to them?
Well, this is my position. We have to develop the country. We cannot develop the country unless there's cohesion. We cannot develop the country unless there's national harmony. In order to get to national harmony, we have to eliminate racism. It is instructive that the PPP went to the United Nations and voted against a resolution to eliminate racism in the world. So we know what their core philosophy is. I don't think that we, as two people of Guyana, the PPP supporters and the coalition supporters, I don't think that naturally, somewhere along the line, they have an urge to work together to develop the country. I think coalition supporters want that. I don't think PPP supporters, rather let me put it this way, PPP supporters have demonstrated that they don't want that. And they have learned that from the PPP. The PPP does not want to have a partner in the development of the country. They think that the resources of the country belong to them. They think Guyana should not have a black head of state. They don't think that Guyana should have a government that is dominated by any other race but East India. That's their core philosophy. We have to move away from that. We have to force them to move away from that. We have to make sure, Sharon, that we build a country for our children, our grandchildren, where there's economic parity, where there's equity, where not only one set of people from one ethnic class controls the wealth, commerce, and industry in the country. Yeah. We have to make sure that we have fair banking rules so that all citizens can have access to financing.
Very well.
So that all citizens can develop the industries and businesses they so desire. We have to make sure that in the industries surrounding the oil and gas sector, that there's fairness, that there's equality, that there's parity, that there's equity. We have to make sure that black businesses thrive. Right now, this PP government is trying to kill every black business. God made them to control this country, our country? No. Who are these people to tell black people, because you black, you can't work for for the government, or because you are black and support the AP and you can have a job in the state. Who are these people? Who are these people to tell black security company that you can't have a job because you support the other party? Guyana is too small for that sort of nonsense. But that's what Barbados and the PUP have done to this country. They want to make sure that when they're in power, no person who supports them thrives. No person who supports them can have a successful, prosperous business or career. And we have to stop it. We have to stop it. We have to fight and lay out an agenda for economic parity in Guyana, for social transformation. We want to see modern bridges and modern roads and modern lights and nice buildings and a developed country as well. But the PPP is hindering that because they want to impose an apartheid government in Guyana, and it can't work. We have to resist that, all of us, Indian, Black, Chinese, Amerindian, European, all of us. We must come together and fight PPP racism. That's my position. That's my message to the Guyanese people.
Fantastic. Rickford, I want to leave you with some energy because I know you have your show coming up at 10, and we commend all of our viewers to your page and to your program. Folks, Rickford is going to be on this evening. I don't want to exhaust him too much, and he has to save some of that energy for the coming days. Rickford, I'm going to see you in a couple of days, and we're going to fight on your turf, these Jagabats.
Thank you. I look forward to meeting and going down Flatbush Avenue with thousands upon thousands of people. Listen, I'm so excited about this event. The police called me today. They're excited. They have laid out a plan for us. We have our security situation under control. We're ready. Come out and let us take a stand against PPP racism in Guyana.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Rickford Burke. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me. Good night.
Fantastic. There, folks, there you have it. The one and only Rickford Burke. And we got that massive protest coming up there. Support it. Those of you who are in the diaspora, those of you who are at home, we got stuff happening right here. So don't ask when you all starting, because if you are listening and you are paying attention, you all would know things already start every Wednesday. For those of you who can't go to the States, who can't make this trip, you might make the next one. Every Wednesday, 12 to 1, Square of the Revolution. Wherever you hear there's a protest happening against these Nakavakamites, these Hippocytes, these Crasses, turn up and turn out. Turn up and turn out. Folks, share the live stream. Share the live stream. We want folks to have this credible information. Not the nonsense coming out of the Times. Not the nonsense coming out of the Chronicle. Not the filth coming out from other places. This is the information we want our people to have that empowers you. So share the live stream, guys. And as we go, we encourage you to sanitize, social distance, wear your mask. Don't let them have to tell us how to operate. We know how to operate. So protect yourself, protect your family, social distance, practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for your health, your safety, that of your friend, your family, and your loved ones, guys. Conduct ourselves properly. They cannot teach us how to conduct ourselves. And then the crass Frank Anthony telling us about suspending our human rights. Oh, look what is happening in other places. So you can just, march over and trample on our fundamental rights and freedoms? To hell with you, Frank Anthony. To hell with you, Olish Waldron. To hell with you, Todd. To hell with you, Jack Dio. To hell with you, Irfan Ali. Your time coming. God don't sleep. God don't sleep. But we must sleep. Head to bed, folks. Have a great evening. God bless each and every one of you. God bless your families. Stay safe. Share the damn live stream. Because I think I'll fight some of y'all. Share the live stream.